Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other, and today's episode is One Piece East Blue Saga, Buggy Side Story Arc, Episode 47. You've been waiting for it, The Return of Captain Buggy. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happens in the episode. So, in this episode, it starts where the last one left off with Alvida fishing out Buggy and them talking about needing to find the Straw Hat, which is, of course, Luffy. And Buggy says the place to start with that is to get his crew back. And then we kind of venture over to where his crew is in the aftermath. We see them escaping Orange Town, despairing on the seas about the loss of Buggy while they do have his parts. And then they do make it to an island where they host a funeral for Buggy, and they put up a picture with the black ribbons and his parts underneath, burning some incense. They all cry there, and then Kabaji makes a speech about how he's going to take over the crew on Captain Buggy's behalf and rebuild the Buggy Pirates to greatness. And then Moji is like, wait, I'm the vice captain. I should be the next captain. And Kabaji tells him he can just stay vice captain. So they decide to fight it out. After their first, grand attacks, they end up destroying each other's weapons. So for the next time lapse, they end up in a fist fight. The rest of the crew feast around them, end up falling asleep, including Richie, who then has a dream about becoming captain himself. And in his sleep, he basically sleep bangs Kabaji and Moji's heads together, leading to him knocking both of them out and ultimately becoming the captain of the crew. While Richie is celebrating becoming captain, we have the native tribe of the island, which happen to be cannibals, coming and attacking them and dragging them all off, while only Kabaji and Moji, who are already unconscious, are left behind, and they start to cook the crew. This is when Alvida and Buggy spot his flashy pirate ship, and they then come to the island, find his funeral sign, though his parts have been removed, and then they wake up Kabaji and Moji and are like, what happened here? And they're like, I regret to inform you, I was unconscious. I do not know. So they have their tearful reunion while Elvita investigates, finds a spear that has a bear claw on it, says that it's the Bear Claw tribe, and then they go to the settlement where they then attack to save the crew, and specifically Buggy comes in with all of his Bera attacks, gets his parts back, becomes strong again. They fight it out. Ultimately, they do end up winning, and so the crew then reunites, are introduced to Elvita, and they set off to find Luffy. So now that we've been reminded what happened in this episode, we're going to rank the episode. We'll rank on the mostly objective ranking list first, which uses set values to determine the score and is absent of emotion, but bias and judgment can still apply. And then the personal ranking, which uses opinion and entertainment value, will be the second ranking. So first off, we have our mostly objective rank values. And we start with our multi-arc supporting character development, which is that Richie is briefly made captain in Buggy's absence, worth 3 points. Our multi-arc supporting character growth, where we have Kabaji introducing his acrobat technique, Monkey Showman, and then Higi Dokiri Fukaisen Trio, which translates to Secret Technique, Candid Camera Police Trio, and then the Higi Sotenenshoko Carnival, which translates approximately to Secret Martial Art Carnival of Colors, worth 3 points. Another 3 points for Moji's Special Sideshow, which is his introduced attack. And then yet another 3 points for Buggy's Barbar Flashily Reassemble, Barbar Kick, Barbar Punch, Barbar Rice Cracker, and the Barbar Carnival. which is also 3 points, which already brings us up to 12. And then we have a +4 for world building, where we are introduced to the Kumite tribe, which translated in English was the Bear Claw tribe, who are a cannibal tribe that lives on the random island the crew decided to bury Buggy on. And then canceling out that is the -4 for the fact that it was a filler episode, meaning that it had no main plot significance really. And that is still 12, which means that this episode objectively is actually a 10 out of 10. And that then brings our mostly objective ranking for this arc to You've Been Waiting for It, the return of Captain Buggy in first place, and in second, following the Straw Hat, Little Buggy's Big Adventure. Now, my personal ranking, I still enjoyed this episode a lot because it, of course, is Buggy centric, and we by now should all know that I really like Buggy. I think he's the best character of the series. I love Buggy. I think he's great. He's always great for comedic value, always puts a smile on the face. So I do really like this episode. However, we did kind of break away from our lovely Buggy to his crew, which nothing against his crew. Kabaji's fun, Moji and Richie are fun, but ultimately, like, they're not Buggy. They're not of his level. So the like little brief foray into their competition and then Richie becoming captain was funny. But that whole like crew section wasn't as entertaining as Buggy, though it still was about Buggy, which made it still Buggy centric, so it wasn't terrible. But again, I would have rather seen Buggy on screen the whole time. And so for that reason, I only gave it an 8 out of 10 rather than a 10 as well. But that's still a pretty high score. 8 out of 10, bringing the personal ranking 2 in first, following the Straw Hat, Little Buggy's Big Adventure, which was amazing. And then this episode in second, You've Been Waiting for It, the return of Captain Buggy, and we were. Since Orangetown, I've been waiting to see our Buggy again, and we have this little arc, which is one of my favorites because it's Buggy-centric. Though, to be honest, Buggy, for spoilers, my favorite version, well, is the itty bitty version, but my second favorite version of Buggy is the Impel Down version. So, really looking forward to that. We'll get there eventually. But for now, this is the best iteration of our Captain Buggy. And that now brings us to our saga ranking so far, and this little arc was only like 2 episodes, so we have completed the arc. And we have our mostly objective ranking with Romance Dawn arc still in first place at 86.67%, Arlong Park arc in second at 76.67%, Orangetown arc in third at 76%, Baretti arc 68.33%, Syrup Village arc was 64%, and unfortunately, objectively, the Buggy Side Story arc is only 55%, so it is currently 6th place. However, on the personal ranking side, our Buggy Side Story arc is in first at 90%, then Arlong Park arc in second at 76%, Orangetown arc third with 74%, fourth Romance Dawn arc at 66.67%, Baretti arc in fifth at 52.5%, and then in last place still is Syrup Village arc at 49%. So because this is the end of the arc, we will have our arc's final score. And for the mostly objective ranking, at 55, that does put it into a score of 2. On the personal side, however, because it was 90%, that does bring it all the way up to our lovely 9. So now for our mostly objective ranking on the series ranking for the East Blue Saga, we're adding 2 to bring us up to 34 out of a possible 80. And then on the personal ranking side for the East Blue Saga, we're jumping all the way up to 30 after adding 9 for a total of 30 out of 80 so far. But with that, we've now rewatched and ranked One Piece East Blue Saga Buggy Side Story Arc Episode 47. You've been waiting for it, the return of Captain Buggy. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.